With many of us working and learning from home these days, it is actually crucial that we have either a smartphone or a laptop. And due to recent events that a particular smartphone has actually exploded, I was thinking, could you actually trust laptops that are below 500 ringgit? So this is a laptop that I've got from Shopee. It is a Chromebook that costs 490 ringgit, even though this is not the intended model that I get, because I actually bought an Asus Chromebook, but the seller actually gave me an HP 14 Chromebook, which is not very well refurbished, by the way. If you look at all over the sides, the chassis is really dirty, and there's even the rubber feet are all gone. It's in a really bad refurbished condition, even though it is a refurbished unit. So, end of the day, can you trust a 500 ringgit Chromebook that you buy from Shopee? Let's find out. So just a little introduction and context about Chromebooks. So Chromebooks, they run on Google's Chrome OS, which is a very lightweight operating system that doesn't require very high-end hardware to run properly, which is totally unlike Windows laptops, because this device here has an Intel Celeron dual-core processor along with 4 gigs of RAM and 16 gigabytes of storage, which would have failed if it is a Windows device. But on this device, in terms of performance, it will perform extremely fast. It doesn't really lag at all if you're doing very basic web browsing, and you can even do Zoom video calls in a class without any issues. So this is why a Chromebook can be so affordable, because of the low-end hardware that you get right inside, and it gets the job done if most of your workflow involves in the web browser. Now let's talk about the refurbished quality of this Chromebook that I've gotten here. Now, of course, some of you might not mind because you're just paying 500 ringgit for a laptop, and this is kind of the quality that you would expect, but I would really expect that the refurbished quality of this laptop would be way better. Now let's take a look at the hardware. Now you can see that there are actually visible scratches on the chassis around here, and there are missing rubber flaps on the sides here, which is something that's not very nice if you ask me. Looks like a really crappy laptop to most people out there, and probably if you see it on the shop front, you probably wouldn't even buy it. But otherwise, I would have to say that the keyboard still looks pretty good. There are no broken keys at all. The paint is still pretty nice. The touchpad works pretty well. Surprisingly, it's pretty precise in terms of tracking performance. And if you look like at the bottom here, it's really dirty. Like I mentioned earlier, you get all these missing rubber feet, which I kind of hope that the seller would have just included this for rubber feet, because if you were to buy one, a set would cost like 10 ringgit. It's not expensive at all. And even like on the top of the chassis, you can see that there are obvious dirt marks right over here, which has not been refurbished really well. So this is something that I was kind of disappointed in terms of the refurbished quality. Now, the HP 14 Chromebook has a good set of ports, and I really like them. So on the side here, you get two USB 3.0 ports, a full-size HDMI port, which you can extend the screen to a secondary monitor if you actually want to, a headphone jack, and here's a port for locking the device if you want to. And on the right side here, you even get a full-size SD card reader. So even if there's only 16 gigabytes of storage on this device, you can easily expand the storage on this device if you actually want to. But in most cases, you wouldn't really need to do that on a Chromebook, because you're mostly using the storage of your Google Drive. So chances are you're probably only just going to save a few important documents onto this device and nothing more than that. So I've been using this Chromebook for about 2 days already, and here are my thoughts. Now, despite its really bad refurbished condition, I have to say that the performance of this Chromebook really went out of my expectations. I wasn't expecting such kind of performance whereby you can open up to about 15-16 browser tabs without too much of lags. Of course, I did manage to crash the entire machine when I opened the 26th tab, which is pretty incredible, because for such kind of specs on a Windows laptop, it would have died even if you open up to 12 tabs, So I would say that this is actually pretty decent. Now, of course, with such a screen, you don't expect to stream 4K content on YouTube, because nobody does that anyway. But I can say that it also managed to stream 1080p videos without any issues, and it is sufficient for most people out there already. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the webcam and speakers. And to be honest, I didn't expect much, but it delivers. The webcam is HD quality 720p. Colors look a little washed out, but I can tell you it is kind of slightly better than my M1 MacBook Pro, which I'm pretty surprised. Speaker sounds pretty loud, really great for conference calls. And to show you how good it is, here's a sample.
The things that make the X340 Pro 165Hz monitor so enticing is its very simple assembly process that only requires you to screw in maybe 2 to 3 nuts. All you need comes in the box, including the stand, base, screws and spacers if you want to wall mount. Simply assemble as instructed in the manual. Then retrieve the included power cable and the DisplayPort cable and hook them up to the PC. That took, what, less than 10 minutes?
And finally, let's talk about battery life. So over 2 days of usage, I managed to clock up to 5 hours on a single charge, which is actually really decent for a web browsing device, because I was really pushing this laptop to its limits, whereby I opened a lot of browser tabs, keep on doing music streaming and all the other stuff on this thing. And it managed to last up to 5 hours of continuous use. Like for instance, if you join a 40-minute Zoom call, it will consume 10% of the battery on this machine, which I think it makes a lot of sense. So if you're thinking to use this mainly for Zoom meetings and classrooms, I would say that it's a pretty suitable device. So these are the thoughts of this 500 ringgit Chromebook that I bought on Shopee. Do I recommend it? Well, absolutely, if you're on a super tight budget and you don't have that kind of financial freedom to spend over 1,000 ringgit on a new laptop, especially if you have a couple of kids that needs to do online learning. So yeah, I would say that this is a recommended purchase if you don't really mind about the build quality and the refurbished condition of it, because every unit will have a different condition. That's one thing that you need to know. And sometimes these Shopee sellers, they really don't show the pictures of how the condition of the unit really is. So I do urge that you take a look at it before you accept the purchase. So if you're not satisfied with the build quality or whatsoever, do a return and I'm sure the seller would accept your request. So that's pretty much about my video for today. Thank you very much for watching. Do let me know if you have any questions in the comment section down below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos coming right up. And don't forget, you can still shop for work from home essentials on our e-store at deals.klgadgetguy.com and get 10 ringgit off your first purchase and free delivery for every item you buy. That's it for now, and I will see you in the next video.